Let's do this.
Hello, and welcome to Suitcase Disc by Disc. I'm Ben,
I'm Dan.
and today this is the last episode we'll be recording for a hot minute. You listeners at home might not notice that though, because I can upload
Yep.
these whenever they're done. We're doing Suitcase 2, Disc 4, Disc 8 in total. The end of the first half of the Suitcase saga, if you will.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This one's got hits again.
I'll say.
Um,
Let's uh
let's just get
let's
started.
kick it off. Yeah. Mad Room Assistance is a rocker. So
Yeah, it is 7 feet of
um
sunshine. So I think this is Bob, Greg, and Don.
that is right. Don
Hmm.
Thrasher, the
Yeah.
drummer of I Am a Scientist.
And also Swearing at Motorists, which is another Dayton band.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. They don't sound anything like Matter and Resistance, though. Um, I like
That's
this
too
song.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Um
I don't go back
for
to it a
oh,
ton, but it is good. It's a
it
good
is good.
song.
It's got a few callbacks. It's got the riff from
Parakeet
Parakeet
Troopers.
Troopers.
And then it has the bridge from Heavy Metal Country.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
both of those parts work better in their own songs, but I don't mind hearing it
Agreed.
like this.
Yeah. Do you think that the heavy metal country, like this was the origin of that, and then it got placed into the
Hmm.
song on Sunfish? I mean, probably,
See,
right? Like this
see,
song came
hmm.
first, and then
See, I
I
don't
feel like the
know.
chronology is Parakeet Troopers because
Hmm.
that's an older one,
Yeah,
and then Bob tried to write a new song that recycled the riff, but then he came up with the "Sometimes I'm
yeah,
Programmed"
that's what I
bridge,
think.
and then took that. Yeah,
Because,
but
like, I mean, it's tricky because there's no indication of when Heavy Metal Country was recorded or what it was recorded for. It just kind of exists.
yeah,
Always felt that, like that's not on the Suitcase past this song, but I always felt that was one of Bob's more enigmatic tracks because I have no idea when it was recorded. Because it
yeah.
wasn't Power of Suck. I don't think it was on any of the Under the Bushes track lists. It just kind of
No,
exists.
no, that's true. You're right.
Could
Yeah,
have been a
yeah,
single with Sensational Gravity Boy. Oh, that would have
man.
killed. But
Oh, that would have killed some.
yeah. But that's not really for this episode. That'll be in a later, totally potentially real episode where we just talk about whatever we want for 5 hours. Um,
Is this is the same lineup as the Terrible Two?
yes,
Uh,
and Sacred
is it the
Space.
same? Yes. Is it
I
the
believe
same
it is.
session?
I
Okay,
mean, I don't know about session because I don't know how they record, but
or the
it
same like
sound it.
general era?
I'd say it is. It
I would
almost
give.
certainly is.
I kind of want to compile those because there's about what four
Uh,
tracks with that lineup
beneath the
on.
festering moon might have been that lineup too.
Oh,
I'm only saying that based on
interesting.
how the drums are, because Don Thrasher has a pretty distinct way of drumming.
Does he?
Yeah,
And you're right. I'm pretty sure Don Thrasher has said that he drummed on the early version of what a hallway of shatterproof glass, a track
yeah,
that's on another
yeah.
suitcase coming
We'll
up.
get
Yeah,
there. Well, yeah. I have a reason to believe that too, but we'll get there when we get there.
we
That's
will.
not going to be for a hot minute.
But in any case, this is a cool song,
Hmm.
and I like how it kicks off the disc, and I also like this next one,
I
Man
love
of Dimension,
I
which
love
is a
Mana
much older
Dimension.
one.
This is an
Yeah.
eight. This I believe is an '86 track
Yep. The
because I
band, not the year.
yeah. No, the
The
year is
the
older.
Yeah, the year's like 1980, but
Yeah.
Bob had a
Mhm.
songwriting guild, so called, with a
Mhm.
couple other Dayton guys, who they never put out anything, but
They could have enough.
they
Yeah.
had some songs.
Mhm.
Yeah, they made
Uh,
some cassettes,
yeah.
and
A bunch of
Bob.
songs. Sorry,
Uh,
what? Yeah.
oh no, go on.
A bunch of the '86 songs have been released over time. I think there's a really bad song in Suitcase 3 that's from it, and then
Oh
there's
yeah.
two tracks
Oh
from
yeah.
then there's two tracks from Suitcase 4. There's a Quality of Armor. Yes, that Quality
Yep.
of Armor. Wherever you go in GBV history, Quality of Armor will be waiting for you.
Yeah.
And an older version of Wished I Was a Giant that sort of
Yes.
felt more like the
Yes.
Ohio Bob we know and love. And that could have been good. That probably would have been pretty good.
Yeah.
It would sound a
Uh,
lot like Eyeless in Gaza, I'll tell you that. Really super out there post punk shit. I'll have to send you something later.
Okay.
but it's
Yeah,
what
I do it.
86 sounds like to me. But Man of Dimension is probably the poppiest of the 86 tracks I've heard in a sense.
Yeah,
And you
it
can,
is
yeah,
catchy. And Bob does his own like backing vocals at the
yeah,
end, which I love.
yeah, yeah. Wonder how it would have sounded with Nick and John harmonizing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I would say this is one of Bob's like
it's
of
a
his early songs. Like this is the same vintage
yeah,
as Quality of Armor,
mhm,
which is like
yeah,
early GBV songs. I
yeah.
feel like this one's
Did
really successful. It's just
did
a really
mhm.
good song.
did Tony ever acknowledge GBV playing this live? Because I can
I
hear
don't
I
think
in
so.
my head I can hear like a full like in my head this sounds like an EP track from like
Yeah,
the B1000 era because I can hear Kevin Fennell's drums over this very clearly in my head, even though it never
yeah,
happened.
yeah. No, that's a good point. Like
Hmm.
this song could have worked in a later era, just like Quality of Armor was
Hmm.
resurrected like maybe like a decade after Bob
Yeah.
wrote it for
Hmm.
Propeller. Like I feel
This
like
could have
this
been
one
like
could
a
have.
this could have been like a like an Under the Bushes. Maybe not, I don't know about Under the Bushes, but I'm thinking of like this is the kind of song that I could hear working well in like a studio setting, but it's
Yeah.
not a track that needs the musical prowess that like the current lineup has. Like
No, it doesn't
this
need
is like
polish.
to
Wait,
me this is a Toby Mitch Kevin song.
yeah, when you said like a B1000 era like EP track, I was like, yeah, like something kind of scuzzy and
Hmm.
sloppy would be pretty neat to hear.
Maybe like Power of Suck. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um,
And like what Bob was doing around that time, like he'd probably like cut it in half, so it was just like a verse, a chorus, and then like an abrupt ending. Like that would have been like
yeah,
a nugget. Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of songs that worked with later lineups, here's a surprise.
Ooh.
Nerve
Yes.
Nerve Gas, clocking it at 48 seconds. Against all odds, resurfaced on the newest Guided by Voices album, Mirrored Aztec, as Biker's
Yes.
Nest.
Just the intro riff,
Do
really.
do 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 do. It is one of the most atonal things Bob's ever written.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
And I love how on Mirrored Aztec they just tack it on to the beginning and then launch into this other song that's not,
yeah.
Biker's Nest.
It's
The
not
rest of
this
the
at all.
song is not.
Otherwise,
It's not this. Yeah.
but you know it
Uh,
when you hear it.
yeah.
I don't even remember. I'll be honest. Usually, I only listen to these discs once because I usually remember how these songs go. Still couldn't tell
Mhm.
you how Nerve Gas went.
It's one of his like that riff is obviously
Hmm.
great, but then the song kind of it doesn't
Do
not
anything
like
with it?
a rocker. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Yeah, exactly. The
Hmm.
song itself like moves on, and it's one of the slower kind of songs. And I feel like it's a Half Smiles demo era.
I think it's a Milko
This
Wave track. Well, I mean, it's not listed as Milko Wave, but it's definitely like Bob
I
with a
think it's earlier.
boombox.
I think it's the same vintage as there's another track on here, "Scare Me Number Three," which
I don't think it's
says
that.
really well. We'll get to
Because,
that one later, but
yeah.
they both say 2004 in the notes. I always
Hmm.
grouped them together, but
Scary
yeah, you
Number
could be
3 would
right.
be weird to be 2004 if it was a Half Smiles demo, but we'll get there when we get there.
Good point.
We'll get it later.
Yes.
Next we have another song that turned into something else. The first track here from the Fun Punk 5. This
Yeah,
they have two songs on here and two songs on Suitcase 3, and this is the only one I like. Uh, I think
this
so at least.
is probably their masterpiece. Yeah.
It's Do the Ball, which is
Yeah.
Bob, Toby, Mitch, Jimmy, and I think Geo,
Yep.
the giggling dude from the end of Harrison Adams and from that Some Drinking Implied movie, the guy who rips his shirt off and talks about you boys with you fancy watches or some shit.
Oh man.
But this became one of GBV's really kind of post-punky, bass-driven classics in Hunter Complex, a song I always
Yeah.
forget about.
I do too.
But
I
it's
mean,
so
that's not one of
good.
my. It
It's
is really
so
good.
good.
Is that Clown Prince of the Menthol
Yes.
trailer?
Yeah.
That's a GBV release I do not own a physical copy of. That's one of the
Hmm.
few. That's a hard one to track down.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a
That's
nice
a
little
weird.
EP,
Yeah.
and I love what they did with this song. It's
Hmm.
obviously they're jamming, and you
Oh
can hear
yeah,
at
they're
the
just
end
fucking
Bob.
around.
Yeah, they're fucking around. Bob's kind of riffing, and at the very end, before it cuts off, he's like, "Hey, record it" or something like that. So I always figured they were just like all the Fun Punk 5 tracks.
Hmm.
They're all obviously just jamming
Yeah,
and
it is
trying to come
pure.
up with something. And
It's pure
yeah,
uncut Monument Club. My
Yeah.
suspicion has always been that there's a few others because Alien Lanes, the song, kind of sounds like this, but like with overdubs.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
song
Yeah.
Boston Spaceships kind of has the same sound to it, but is a
Yup.
lot more
Yup.
subdued. And then the ever glorious "More Hot Dogs, Please." I'm almost positive is from this. I'd had
Totally.
it sounds exactly like this, but with a little more studio treatment to add some like reverb to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but like
I mean,
of
it's not.
yeah,
Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say of like the songs that are very obviously this, I think "Do the Ball" is the best of the four.
Yeah, it's got a good bass groove, like you said, and
Yeah,
it evolved into something like really good.
yeah,
Spectre Complex is a nice deep cut EP track, but
hmm
it's worth seeking out for sure.
yeah.
I like that one.
Uh,
Yeah.
Next we have another full band '80s Bob track. The issue presents itself. It's okay.
Yeah, it is. It's
hmm
okay. I
Yeah.
like the title resurfaced in
Psychic
Psychic
Pilot
Pilot.
clocks out.
Every issue
Presents itself.
presents
We
itself. Yeah.
address them quickly at their. I just listened to Not My Air Force, so Psychic Pilot is fresh in my mind.
Hell yeah. But yeah, this one I
hmm
guess I could see it. It pairs with what was the one last week?
Well,
Soul Barn.
there's another
I
Peterbilt Bombs track, or two others on the Suitcases. I'm gonna go see what they are real quick because I just don't remember. Yeah,
yeah.
it is actually in fact Soul Barn. It does pair pretty
Yeah.
nicely with that. I'm gonna agree with you
Yeah.
there.
They seem cut from the same cloth to
But
me,
Soul Barn
so
is a little
that's
so I think I like Soul Barn more, but to each their
I do
own.
too, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I
This
don't
one's nice.
yeah, like I don't love Issue Presents Itself, but I don't really feel strongly about it either way. It's a good Suitcase tune.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid.
And it works very nicely to set up the grand epic that follows it.
Oh
Leprechaun
man.
Catfish Fighter, 30 seconds long. I believe this name was used in the liner notes of Universal Truths and Cycles. Because I
Oh
think
yeah?
because I think they recorded the album with John McCann, a name I always forget
Yeah.
about because the drumming on that album sounds so much like Kevin. I always forget it's someone else.
Uh,
But someone else played drums on that album, and then immediately after recording it, he was like, "All right, I'm gonna head out. Peace." So I think GBV already knew that Kevin was gonna be the next guy in the band because the liner notes say, "Coming soon, Kevin March, Leprechaun Catfish Fighter."
oh, amazing. That's
How he
cool.
got that name, I don't know, but
That'd be a good story.
yeah, but got turned into a 30-second song.
It's a really good hook. I mean, the title's catchy. Leprechaun Catfish Fighter.
It's the kind of rhythm that now that I think about it, kind of surprised hasn't shown up since because it's a good rhythm. But
That's true.
it would have to be presented differently, to put it simply.
Yeah. It's a nice little nugget of a song.
All
Yeah, I
right,
mean, that again, that's a
that's
suitcase.
Suitcase, baby.
Perfect suitcase.
Yeah. All right,
Exactly.
we've got a hell of a hot streak up ahead. If you want to
Yes.
get your rice now.
Sounds good. Oh man, there's like a helicopter flying over. Can you hear
Oh,
that?
oh, I can hear it.
Man, that's crazy. Okay, I'm not even gonna pause or
Yeah,
anything. I'm just gonna leave this up
just gonna
and
let
I
it
will be
run.
right back.
Um, I suppose I should probably find some way to fill the time, because I don't really want to edit this. As of recording this, it is October 28th, 2020. Um, if you've been listening to to every episode of the podcast so far, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you only listen to some episodes, really, if you listen to anything, even if this is the only one, I would still like to say thank you for listening to this. And I hope that you're finding Suitcase tracks that maybe you'd missed before that you suddenly like a lot more now because we said nice things about it. Really, I hope that if you're listening to this and you're getting something out of it, that I don't know, that's great. That's great. And I don't know. I needed something to fill the time. And I don't know if you're listening. Thanks. Really, that's what it boils down to. Uh, oh, that's a long silence. Do 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 do. You still there? I'm just gonna say things to the listener at home. You at home, just to ensure that we're still here. Well, I'm still here. Dan's getting rice. Whoa, whoa. Suitcase 2 is better than the first one. Well, I think it is. I think there's a case to be made for every suitcase being the strongest because it's all outtakes, so it's all open to interpretation. I think every disc has its moments. All 16 discs have something worth listening to on there. And because there's so much good in here, I don't think you could make a perfect 100 song suitcase out of all 400. I think you would need to stretch out further. That's what I think, at least. I'd say write it in the comments what you'd like, but you're not going to do that, and that's something that internet personalities say to fill time. So I don't know. Make your own Suitcase podcast. There's something more people need to know about Suitcase.
Ta-da! I have arrived.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm just noticing that we are now 18 minutes in with 6 songs covered,
Hmm.
and we've got a pretty solid stretch ahead of us.
You do.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
No.
I don't know where this stretch ends either, but I'm gonna say it's from track 7 to 12. I'm gonna say that's the stretch of untouchable
Yeah,
fire.
I was gonna say my eyes went to Daddy's in the State Pen and thinking, that one
We'll get
probably
there.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we have to start with Child, which is
Oh,
I
child.
think another one of those solo Bob 1997 98 solo do the collapse demos that we talked about in all the first 4 episodes.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
this is
with you
another one of
there.
those. Um,
I just noticed.
this one
I
re-
never. I didn't. Sorry, I didn't notice this before. Actually, I don't remember it, but in the notes it says it's a Universal Truths and Cycles demo,
No
which I
way in the
never.
world. No way. It would have ruled on that album, but it kind of
It's it.
ended up somewhere else.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
definitely older. I always thought it was Isolation Drill's era because of how this
Ariel.
song is basically in instrumental form on
Choreographed Manowar.
choreographed Man of War, which is
Hmm.
2001.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm with
I
you.
like this one more, I will note.
You like what?
I
Which one
like
more?
I
This
like
one more
Child
than
more than
Ariel?
Ariel. Yeah.
Yeah,
It just
yeah. Child
mhm.
is a nice song.
it hits a sort of emotional point. I think it's interesting that it's given the same artist name that Color Code Drawing got. It has the same sort of emotional
Oh,
feeling, but I still think that Color Code Drawing strikes an emotional nerve that Bob hasn't really hit elsewhere. And I don't think
hmm.
this hit the nerve quite that way, but it could.
Yeah, good. It's
Yeah,
a nice one.
and I could
It's
see.
got nice
Mhm.
chord progression and like a little melody. I mean, it works as an instrumental, so I can see
Hmm.
why it was used that way as basically a long intro to Ariel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the vocal version
Hmm.
more.
Yeah. I think what's funny is it just occurred to me, but the chords, I think on here it's F sharp minor and C. On Ariel, I think it's like E minor and B flat. There's a Sebadoh song with those chords in that order, and I think if you played the riff from the Sebadoh over the top of this, it would work. I'm not gonna get too any further into that, but
Yeah,
it's an amusing
probably
thought.
best not
Yeah,
to.
I doubt that's why Bob didn't put it in Do the Collapse or Isolation Drills or Universal Truth and Cycles or anything in this form. But God, that would sound awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Child is great. That was a long pause. Child's
It
a great
was.
tune. Um, you know what else is a great tune?
Is it Invisible Exercise by Howling Wolf Orchestra?
It is Invisible Exercise
Hmm.
by Howling Wolf Orchestra. This is the second song on Suitcase 2 to feature the phrase "the lost speeches of Jesus." But
Really?
whereas the other one, Color Coat Drawing, did it in an almost sort of sorrowful, maybe not wistful, but in like a yearning sort of way. This is Howling
Yeah.
Wolf Orchestra, so this song is just
I
eerie.
yeah. I didn't pick up like that is a standout lyric from this,
Hmm.
but I forgot that it was used elsewhere. Actually I kind of was like, oh, I think
This,
it was, but I
yeah, well,
forgot it was Color Coat.
this is the one about monochrome ancestors and stuff.
Yeah, this is a weird one. It's a nice like Circus Devil Z
Yeah,
kind of song.
I might like it
Right?
more than the EP itself. I think this might be my
Yep.
favorite of the 10 Howling Wolf tracks.
Yeah, like I was wondering, like, why would this of all tracks be
Hmm.
cut from the EP?
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I, so it's just such a short little
hmm,
release. It seems like, okay, why not toss one of these
yeah,
songs on it?
I
But who
mean,
knows?
it was just a 7 inch, right? I mean, 8 songs in the 7 inch is, no matter what length, that's a lofty goal. So it's possible that they ran out of space
Yeah,
and Bob
yeah,
wanted the weirder tracks there.
yeah.
Like by the
Bob
standards of
erred
that
on.
EP, Invisible Exercise and Evil Street they're not normal, but they're more normal than some of the tracks that actually made it.
Yeah.
I mean, it opens with 2.5 minutes of vocal and a snare drum. These aren't weirder than that. But this does get close. What do the liner notes say? Every member of it did, because my mind always tells me I don't know for sure, but I always just have a feeling that this is Jimmy on bass.
Oh, you nailed it. Yep. It says
Because
Nate Farley on drum, Jim on bass, and
mhm,
Pollard on acoustic and vocals.
yeah, because Jimmy's kind of a minimalist when he plays. Like he's not. He's like the opposite of someone like say Doug Gillard, who will play a lot of notes. Jimmy plays a few notes, but those notes matter,
Now, yeah,
which
he's got
makes
a
him.
natural.
Yeah, he's got a good ear. It's not talked
Yep.
about enough, but Jimmy Pollard's role in earlier GBV is not one to be understated.
Sure.
He had an ear, but he also, I think, didn't have that same desire to quit his job the way,
Yeah.
say, Mitch Mitchell did. Because I think being in Guided by Voices is better than working at a sandpaper factory. I don't know about you, but I think if I had the option to be
I
in a
had to
rock band, if
choose.
I had to choose, I
Yeah.
think I would pick making rock music over working in a sandpaper factory in the middle of Ohio. But that's just me.
Yeah.
To each their
Yeah.
own. I don't know, really know where that went. Invisible Exercise is awesome. Do not
From
skip this one.
a really weird track to just a very early kind of earnest track.
Yeah, All Around the World it's a tune.
Whiplash. Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Hmm.
Bob kind of singing in higher register or in a
Acid,
higher range,
it's
maybe.
Acid Ranch E. I don't know. I mean, I guess
Is that?
anything from that era can kind of be called Acid Ranch, but this song is
Yeah, but it's
way.
like on the
It's
melodic
too nice to be Acid
spectrum.
Ranch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just a pleasant,
Hmm.
pleasant little, almost folky song. I don't know.
I could see it. This is like a really sunshiny kind of song. I think
Yeah,
this might even be past 60s Bob. This might be 50s Bob, which is rare. Bob doesn't really take from 50s music a ton.
yeah.
Probably because 50s music Most of it hasn't aged that great. Maybe that's just me. That's more projection than anything. I don't know what. I mean, I've never heard Bob talk about any music from the '50s, so
That's a good point. Yeah,
usually
he's
it's
he's
Beatles, and that's
very
where it
60s,
starts.
70s, 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but it is a nice tune. I can see why it didn't go anywhere, but it's a good tune.
Nope. This next one is cool.
Yes.
Late
Woo!
Night
Scamerica.
Scamerica.
This is a solo acoustic demo, which is killer. The
That is
Psycho and the
killer.
Birds version is my favorite Psycho and the Birds song.
Oh yeah, it's a great. It's the ideal Psycho and the Bird song. I would
Yeah,
say it's
I wrote my own
uh,
lyrics for this once. I have
oh
to find
yeah.
them.
Did you
Yeah,
do a cover or
I did, and I'm still proud of it. I don't remember how it
let's
goes, but
I'll have to dig that
I
up.
remember it was good. It's pre Hello World. But well, that version works because Todd adds some nice leads, but you can't add sick leads to a song that sucks. So clearly, this song had the magic from the get go. I mean, it helps that it's a simple riff, but it's infectious.
It is. Yeah,
It
I
can't
love it.
it can't not stick with you.
And of all the Psycho and the Birds tracks, especially from the earlier, like the first album, it
Hmm.
sounds more structured,
Yeah.
and a lot of those tunes are more off the cuff, and you
Hmm.
can kind of tell because of the way the song will go from one point to another point to a third point and
Yeah.
not really
Yeah.
repeat.
As you
But
hear
this
as you hear
song,
Todd's instruments try to play catch up. But this
yeah,
it's
exactly.
tuned in all the way. It's kind of like Jesus the Clockwork in that regard, where it sounds more
Yeah,
like Bob really wanted to do something with it and then just wasn't feeling it,
yeah, yeah.
versus something like Blood Witness, which is just all over the place.
Yeah.
Quite good, but all
Man,
over the place.
just thinking about this song, I'm like, yes, I gotta listen to that Psycho and the Birds album soon.
Oh
It's
yeah, All That Is Holy is a really good album.
such a trip. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good album if you like almost instrumental music.
exactly.
Yeah,
Is this a Milko Wave
it's
tune?
Alvin Hazel's, which is the same credit the
Oh,
Nerve Gas got, so it might as well be Milko Wave.
yeah.
Maybe Bob just didn't want too many songs with that name. I mean, it didn't phase
Well,
him on Suitcase 4 or
again,
Suitcase 3,
it's
but
a
that's a matter
little
for later.
it's a little too straight laced, I think,
Yeah,
for Milko.
I could see
Milko's a
that.
little he's off on some other trip entirely
Yeah,
some of the time.
Yeah, Milko's just taking it all in.
Yeah.
What's next?
Next up,
A
A
World of My
World of
Own.
My Own.
More 80s, Bob.
Yeah. Is this
Another
one of
live
the
track.
live ones? Like,
It
yeah.
is.
Man, around this time, Bob was just writing these like big choruses. Like, uh, the way the chorus, like, I want a world of my own. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's funny to me. It's
his
very just
his
he's
dreams were a
going
little
for it.
different.
Yeah.
Like this is like it's always funny to me to think about it that Devil Between My Toes was the first God Above Voices album and not Sandbox. Because based on what Bob was writing before, it would absolutely make more sense if the order were switched, but that's just not what happened.
I feel
Like,
like if there was an album before Devil Between My Toes and it was made up of all these types of tracks, it'd just be very power poppy almost,
hmm
very
yeah, it would have,
jangly.
yeah, not a ton of like the weird fucked up Bob that pervades his music to this day.
Hmm.
It'd still be good.
Yeah,
I
for
don't know.
sure.
I don't know. Maybe it'd be comparable to that Pleasure's Pale album, which I know I've listened to a few times.
Is that a
It's
Craig
another.
Demos?
It's no, that's New Creatures, which
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I still listen to a few tracks from that album every now and again, and I think the Figure Four album, which is actually not terrible. I don't know why I thought it
Yeah,
would be, but
that's
the Figure Four album I think is the best produced of those three '87 albums.
oh nice.
I mean, they were recorded with the same guy, so I don't know how. But what was I gonna say? I got sidetracked.
You were talking about Pleasure's Pale. I don't
Yeah,
remember who's
it's
in that one.
another local Dayton band from that time. I think Luis Lerma was in the band,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and I don't know how popular they were, but one of the tracks on that album was a live track from like a radio thing or something. So they were getting somewhere, where
Good for them.
GBV I think did one public access appearance that only Matthew Cutter has seen, and that was it. Um,
She's the one I love the
love the most.
most.
She's alright. This is She's the One, or as we know it, Gasoline Ragtime from Normal Happiness.
Yeah,
Because this thing needed more Normal Happiness demos. It actually did. Really, I would have liked a few more.
definitely.
Yeah. It's the start of a tune,
Hmm.
and I mean it is because we've heard the final version and it rules.
How weird is like Todd Tobias's treatment of that chorus kind of, I guess you
Oh
could call it a
God,
chorus, like the intense section
there's
on
there's no way Bob
Normal
thought he would do
Happiness.
that. There's no way Bob could have expected Todd to do that, and I think it's why Bob
Yeah,
worked with Todd for as long as he did, because
yeah,
in the same way that Bob can take a song in a direction you wouldn't expect it to, Todd could take that and
yeah.
make it fly
Todd
out
had
even
a
further.
very weird sensibility for those things, and it was a perfect match for Bob. So
Hmm.
it's awesome to hear the original demo and then hear the studio version and to
Studio version
kind of see.
flies.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
but again, it's a good demo. And then we've got a really old track. This might be late '70s.
yep.
"Daddy's in the Steak Pen."
77. Oh
I
man.
don't know what to do with the song because I know I like it, but this is a
Oh man.
violent song.
Yeah.
Like it seems like an oddly light-hearted way to
Yeah.
approach something as serious as domestic abuse. It's
Um
from the late '70s. I don't know if I can really criticize that anymore because Bob put it on the middle of a Suitcase disc. It's clear Bob wasn't really thinking too hard about it either, at least in
yeah.
2005. I think if Bob wanted this song to be celebrated, he wouldn't have put it on a Suitcase. But I think Tony has said this is one of the ones they did live, which I could see in the late '70s.
Yeah.
Hmm.
This version just being
Yeah, I mean it's not.
guitar and vocals,
Hmm.
which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean I want to clarify by my comments if you haven't heard it. It's not like Bob is saying you should beat your wife.
No,
He's
no,
definitely
it's a
not
story
saying that.
song.
He's saying the opposite of that. But it's still a weird presentation for an issue like this. I
Yeah.
don't know. That's just me.
It, it's
It's still good,
it's
but
a funny yeah, it's a funny kind of snapshot of like an early position where
Mhm.
self-composed composition, might add, but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It's up there with "Hey, I Know Your Old Lady" for me.
yeah. That I think that's fair.
Yeah,
Then we have another fairly mellow '80s track, the Cox Municipal Airport song, which I swear found a second life in the much heavier hitting Tight Globes. I'm pretty sure this is Tight Globes.
interesting. I'll have to investigate that. There's
Yeah.
some similarities in. Is it what is it
It's
like? Kind of the
I think
chord
it's I
change, like
think it's the
along.
same chord. I think it's some of the same chords. I think.
Yeah, interesting.
But this one, instead of being, uh, totally rock and ripper with Doug Gillard leads, it has a harmonica.
Yeah,
That
there's
is,
something to that. Like in
hmm
the intro of Cox Municipal, it's kind of is that kind of what you're thinking that
yeah. It
progression
mhm.
there? Yeah,
It sounds like more sort of not quite from the same vein as Lonely Town because that song's in a league of its own, but it's that similar sort of pessimistic mid '80s Ohio Bob
yeah,
where he's singing about wanting to be somewhere else. Now, whether or not Bob meant that is another matter entirely. This is Robert Pollard we're talking about. But I mean, given what we know about GBV in the '80s, it kind of makes sense. I mean,
the songs.
you're in a
Oh,
town where
sorry.
no one give. I mean, you're in a town where no one gives a shit about what you care about most. You'd probably want to
Yeah,
be somewhere else.
yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Someplace far away, as Bob
To
says.
get away. Yeah, it's a good tune.
Yeah, it is. It features Tobin Sprout on harmonica.
Hmm. I have to wonder about some of those late '80s Toby credits. While Toby was in Florida for like a year and a half or however
Oh
long.
yeah, we know what year he was away because he was kind of in the fold for a little bit, circa
I think,
Devil Between My
yeah,
Toes. Then
I
he
think it
moved,
was.
and then he came
I
back.
think after the Figure Four album, he was in Florida for a while, and then he came back and did Blatant Doom Trip, and then joined GBV as a member for Saturn X. Um, I don't know. I don't know how integral it is to the grand GBV history to discuss how long Tobin Sprout was in Florida, just that he was. I just don't feel like that's such a pressing matter that we need to spend much time on it. Just I don't know if
We don't need to
yeah
research.
yeah I don't know if I think that's Toby. I don't know that I believe that Tobin Sprout is playing harmonica in the song unless it was recorded in '87.
Look,
I don't know.
here's what we do know:
It's an
somebody
enigmatic
is playing
track.
harmonica on the
Then it's
song,
good.
and if it's not Toby, then who the hell is it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it doesn't honestly. It doesn't matter. It's a
Right.
podcast. We have to say shit that means nothing just to fill time. That's what
That's
we
right.
exist to do. Scare Me
Uh,
number three.
I
I have
love
to
this
look
one.
by Gene Autry's Psychic. I could
Oh
believe
yeah.
this being a Half Smiles demos, but what did you say it was in the booklet?
In the booklet, it says it's a Half Smiles demo, but
What
Nerve
year?
Gas was the one. 2004.
Oh, no
It
way.
says.
No way in the
It
world.
says outtake from the Matador album, Half Smiles. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
You
no
think
way. Because they
what?
recorded the album in 2003. In the liner notes for Half Smiles, it says the album was recorded December 2003, so
Okay.
no way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're
2003.
probably right. Yeah,
Yeah. I
no,
will
that's right.
note that the band name was reused. Usually, when Bob reuses a band name across suitcases, it's because it's the same thing. This
Hmm.
was reused for an Acid Ranch track.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's always interesting what happens when Bob forgets he did something with a suitcase. Because it
Yeah,
doesn't happen very often, but it does happen sometimes. Or he didn't care. Also
exactly.
possible. I mean,
I
really,
think
who's looking into
this
it too
one
much?
exactly. I mean, obviously, the song was not ever destined for
Yeah.
Half Smiles, the
It's a
album.
little
It's
too
not really
out
of
there
that
for Half Smiles.
caliber, but
It's
it's a nice little
yeah.
nugget. It
hmm
makes me think of Sid Barrett. It's got kind of a off
ooh.
kilter,
You know what?
melodic
Yes.
flow to it.
I can see that. It's Madcap last style track. I'm just going off from what I remember because it's been a very long time since I've listened to Sid Barrett,
Mhm.
but
I really like
next
it.
to something like
It's
Dark
a kind of
Cloud, I can see it.
one of those slower Bob songs where he makes every chord change count. You know, there's some
Yeah.
cool chord changes that align with a nice vocal inflection, and it just
hmm
that's the good stuff. That's one of Bob's skills, just to make those things kind of
hmm
meld together into something neat. So,
Yeah.
yep,
I could
I'm into that one.
yeah, I could see this maybe coming back, but it would sound have to sound very different. Like this,
Yeah,
I don't know if this is a whole song. This might I mean, honestly, I don't know what else I'd do with it, but it's pretty short with not a whole
yeah,
lot going on in it.
yeah.
Like
It
none of
has
the
kind of
parts
a
stick.
rave
Yeah,
up in the center, in the
yeah. Like
middle,
none of the.
and then it's
Mhm. Yeah, like Bob's mini prog epics like Break Even and whatnot are really good, but those also let their sections either breathe long enough where they really stick with you, or short enough to know that you want to listen to that part 10 times over and over again. This doesn't really. It's not quite there, but there's I don't know. It's funny to say there's
potential.
hope. This thing's 15 years. This suitcase is 15 years old. What do I mean? There's hope.
There's hope.
That's
There's
true. There
always
is
hope.
hope. Um, you know what else there is? There's also Grope. I think I like Hope a lot more than Grope. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
The song Grope is great. I just mean in terms of like what it means. Could you imagine if the hit had been Hold On Grope? God, that would have been weird.
Oh man.
Imagine this being the song Rick Ocasek liked. God, this this is we've entered Nightwalker territory.
Yeah.
It's Bob. I think it might be Bob, maybe Jimmy. I always
Yep.
figured
And Randy Campbell.
Randy Campbell because there's three voices on this one. I think. I
Yep.
think.
Mitch is the other voice.
I've always wondered if that was Mitch or Jimmy because I
It's
don't know
credited to
Jimmy's voice.
Mitch.
Hmm. I guess
Interestingly enough,
it's not my fault, but that always yeah that might be Mitch actually.
the
This is
writing
kind of
credits for this are Pollard, Campbell, and Jimmy Pollard, but
huh.
the credits for instrumentation and whatnot does not list Jimmy in the recording,
Well then I have no
which
idea. but it's Jimmy or Mitch. I mean, the drums are pretty simple. Most of the lyrics are just, I guess, Bob or Randy, I'm not sure which, kind of scatting a little. I don't
Yeah.
really know what the lyrics are because they're buried under reverb. You just hear the word grope a lot, and then you'll hear Mitch or Jimmy. I'm just honestly not sure who going. It's not my fault, and that line is what elevates the song because this is a weird track.
Yeah.
Really good, really weird. It's what suitcases are made of. This is definitely. I think maybe it's just because Randy's there, but it feels a lot more like a Nightwalker tune.
Yeah. This sounds like a song that was cut from the Nightwalker album for being too commercial.
Wasn't there like a second Nightwalker album in the works at some point?
I've never heard about that, but
Huh.
I would be all for it
Yeah, I feel like
personally.
someone
So,
on DTS said that like however like they had a CD of it. I think
oh,
I'll have to check this.
huh.
And however the tracks were recorded, uh, I think they said one song was 6 seconds long and another was 30 minutes. I hope I'm making that up because that's absolutely absurd. But I swear at some point I heard a comment about how Bob was thinking about doing another one. I think looking up
Yeah.
Nightwalker on here is going to get me nothing. Actually, it's getting me a lot, which isn't what I need right now. But I'm going to keep hunting. Maybe
Okay.
while we were continuing recording this, because I swear I did
Sure.
not make this up.
Um,
Oh, I found
well,
it.
you do
I
that.
found it
Oh, you
already.
did?
I found it already. I
Read
think
it.
I think it's relevant. Why not? Um,
Read it.
yeah, it's in a Nightwalker thread, and I think you were involved. You might have been involved in this discussion. So it
Good.
was the Heed. Looking through a box of old stuff, I just found a CD marked Nightwalker #2, Heavy Hits, Heavy Friends. Whoever made it was not good with the CD burner. Track one, six
Wow.
seconds. Track two, 28 minutes. Track three, 31 minutes.
Holy shit.
Have you listened to it yet? In 2012, he said, hard to tell. They all sound like I've heard them before, probably on the Suitcases.
Huh.
Well, it's time to go revive an 8-year-old post.
Yeah. Yeah. Furious typing.
Yeah. He's gonna be like, how the fuck did you find this? And it's like, it came up. I found a post I also said in this thread that was just U235, man. U235. Which is one of the funniest things I will ever say on this board. That's beside the point, though, a little, though. Let's get back on track.
Sounds
Heavy
good. Bring it.
Crown!
Ooh.
Man! One of. It's Boston Spaceships, but before.
I'm so like I remember when this was just a great suitcase track and
Hmm.
then it got remade and I was so stoked
And
because it's such a great song.
it sounds so
And
good on Planets Are Blasted,
it
and it
really
also
does.
sounds good here, but it needed like a little push. Like this is 90% there.
I was always sad that Bob killed the Hello Kitty lyric at the very end, but
Hello Kitty.
yeah,
I'll have to go listen to
he
that again.
says
Hold on.
at the very end, like when he's saying in this city,
Does he say
there
Hello Kitty?
is
There is nothing to sing to or something?
in the demo in this suitcase version, he switches between in this city and then Hello Kitties, blah blah blah.
Oh, that's
I wish I could
weird.
remember.
I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know when this was recorded, but it sounds like the guitar sounds like the buzzing one stringer, so it's possible that between that and Boston Spaceships, a certain other thing with that name happened to get really popular. And
yeah.
maybe Bob just thought that didn't work anymore. Hold on. All right, I'm listening.
The year in the booklet is 91, but
Wait.
I guess not to say this all the time, but I can't picture
I
this
don't
one
buy
existing in
91.
91. It doesn't seem right with like the stuff Bob was writing around that time, and
Hmm.
like why wouldn't it
I
have
don't
maybe
hear.
come out?
I
I don't
didn't hear
know.
Hello
And
Kitty.
just the quality of the recording,
Yeah, maybe late
I could
90s.
be
I didn't
could be
hear
wrong.
Hello
Yeah,
Kitty. I will also
and there,
note that because of how I'm recording this call, that just came
yeah.
in through the podcast very loudly. So,
Oh yeah.
oops. Bendit'll
Oops.
fucky wucky.
Um,
I'll take care of that
Also,
later.
there is some similarity, but I think it's just incidental to this and
Hmm.
everywhere with helicopter.
I can see that. It's cut from a similar cloth. I think I like Heavy Crown a little more. A little more. If I had to
It's a
rank
great
Bob's
one.
thousands of songs, I'd like to think those songs would be close. But yeah. Heavy Crown is good. So
Yes,
Roll Me Over is from the Not in My Air
Ooh,
Force Brain Fart.
I'm a big fan of that tape. Like the other one from that tape is Searing Tonight.
There's a third one
Oh,
too, which we'll get to
and
very
an
soon.
Einstein poster.
We'll get there really soon. Just wait a bit. We got to get through So Roll Me Over first. I don't I don't know if it would work on the Not in My Air Force.
Yeah, but man, it's good.
It is good.
I'm a big fan of that album, and I like. Bob was just writing a lot of hits, so I feel like if he hadn't written so many other hits, then maybe this one had potential to be on an album. But
Yeah.
I can also see why, maybe it
hmm
wasn't. Was just one in many, So
Yeah. I mean,
just another good idea in the pile. So
yeah. I
some of
mean,
them are bound to get
yeah.
left.
Like it's a winner, but I mean, I was gonna say they can't all be winners, but this is a winner. Well, they can't all be winners twice. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. 12 teams make the playoffs. Only one wins the Super Bowl. I'll put it that way. That still
yeah.
doesn't really make sense, but it doesn't matter. Work with me here.
Yeah, no, it's a sweet song. So
hmm
I'd like to put this one on like a playlist or something. Listen to it a little more.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
hmm
I like the opening lyric, like "I am unknown, so
So roll
roll me
me over,
over,
and
and
when
if I
I call
call
you, and then
you."
I think the vocals just sort of trail off into syllables as Bob tends to do in tracks like these.
Yeah,
I mean, he
yeah,
called it the
and
brain.
maybe that's
He
part
called
of
it,
it.
yeah.
This
I mean,
song starts really strong, but does kind of trail off.
yeah. At least as a demo. I mean, it is called a brain. I mean, it's called the brain fart. I don't think Bob had written anything in advance. He just waltzed in,
Yeah,
recorded a bunch of songs. I don't know. I mean, I only know these, but I would imagine there's more to the tape. I think the database lists a few choreographed Manowar tracks as being from the brain fart, but those
oh
demos
yeah.
haven't been released. Um, so after So Roll Me Over, we have Home by 10,
Oh
the best song on this disc, and the
man,
song that
what
I
a
can
song.
only listen to at very high volumes.
This song is like Propeller vintage.
It
I think
has to
it's
be Propeller. It has to
yeah,
be
yeah,
Propeller. Because it just sounds like Propeller. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but if you listen to this next to any of like the studio Propeller tracks, it sounds like that. It sounds
yeah.
like Metal Mothers, Quality of Armor, Circus World, Weed King. It just sounds like those. I don't know if it w- I don't know if it would have worked on Propeller, but if I'm being honest, it's such a good song that I would. You know what? I will say it would have worked on Propeller,
I'm with you.
but
It
it
would
would
have
be a
worked.
searing hot take to say which song I'd cut. So I don't know if I should say it.
Don't even go there.
You might already know because
However,
it's a very hot take to say the song. Fuck it, Cheerleader Cold Front. This song rips ass,
oh my god,
and
man.
Home by 10 belongs in an album a lot more than that does.
Oh
There,
my
I'll
god.
say it. I'm good. It
But
had to be said. I'm telling it
okay,
like it is. I mean what I say.
I guess I can't fire you because this
I
is our
just it doesn't do
podcast.
it.
So
I don't know. This song's a whole. I just really. That might be that is an incredibly bold statement, but I want to be clear that I think Home by 10 is incredible. To
look,
clarify,
I'm just gonna
Bob.
no.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
clarify
Clarify
because
something.
you're just gonna dig yourself deeper. So I'm just gonna
I
clarify
am.
what you're really saying here is that Home by 10 is a very good song, and I think
Yes,
everyone can agree with that.
it is, and
Now
I think Bob
we
agreed
should
with it.
address though.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this was on Propeller, then we might never have gotten the really freaking sweet Bob version on August by Cake, which is
True.
known as
When we all
When We
hold hands
All
at the end
Hold
of the world.
Hands at the End of the
Is
World. Yeah.
that title too long for you?
So,
I'm pretty sure that phrase referred to Doug coming in clutch at the absolute last minute to do a free show in Cincinnati.
yeah.
After Bob and Nick's, I guess, crumbling working relationship hit a boiling point in Cleveland. Fun fact, they did not play an encore at that show, and the result of them not playing an encore resulted in me coming into contact with one of the worst people I've ever met, who
What?
lingered on the GBV message board for 5 months until he
Oh
was finally
no.
banned because everyone hated him.
That's another
There's,
thing that,
but
yeah.
that's unrelated to this. I mean,
Yes.
but Nick Mitchell can do what he wants, but man, it was
We
good having Doug back, and it's good that Bob thought,
it's
Home by 10 was really good. What if, because here's the thing is, my issue is I don't know which version I prefer more, because Home by 10 has the urgency to it. I'm also a
mhm.
sucker for that drum rhythm. 16th notes hi-hats give me life. They
It's
make me
yeah,
stronger.
yeah, it's cool because
Mhm.
this old version, yeah, you're right. It's a rocker, it's
It's very
energetic,
driving, but
impulsive, and
but
then
the other
Bob's
one adds one extra chord in the chorus that makes
uh
it hit so much harder.
oh
I
man,
think
I
this one
love
also
that. I didn't
suffers
know
from
this
having
extra chord, but
this one
yeah, there's
suffers from
something
having
about this slower
yeah,
tempo.
like Home by 10 is great, but it does not have the greatest lyrics in the world, except for I've got my gun pointed at this world. That's awesome.
That is pretty good,
But
yeah.
when we all hold hands at the end of the world feels like it's in the same way that you have to wonder why Bob put Tourist UFO track 3 because it could be a closing track, but it's right at the beginning. That's the power of
Yeah,
Bob sequencing. You
that's
do
the
not
power of
predict.
suck.
Nah, these
I
songs
mean,
don't
it's
suck.
not, but
These songs don't
no.
suck.
um, we should mention that the riff that kind of drives the song, or at least goes throughout it,
Hmm.
is like an iconic Bob riff that has
Yeah.
been reused so many times.
Is this the
Um,
first? I don't remember
no,
if this is the first time he used it. What was
no,
before this?
joyriding
Yes,
at the county fair.
fair. Which is an '80s Bob track that is not on
Yep,
any Suitcase and has never been
it's
officially
completely
released,
unreleased.
and is
You can find it
fine.
on the internet.
It might be on YouTube at this point.
I
It's
think it is on
fine.
YouTube. Yeah.
It's okay, but
Also,
it's not on here, so we don't have to
expecting
talk about it. Expecting
expecting
Brainchild,
brainchild.
which is also perfect, and Sensational Gravity Boy, which is also perfect. Man,
Amazing.
for considering
This
Bob used that riff 4 times, the fact that 3 of the songs he used it on are
at
absolute
least
gold.
4 times. I
Yeah,
have a sneaky suspicion there's another example that I can't think of right now, but
you'll have to
it's
tell
so
me later
cool.
because it's a great riff and it's on so many
If I
great
think of it,
songs.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It's a great riff and it works on a lot of songs. So yeah, I
Right.
love it.
Okay, so before this becomes the Home by 10 podcast, we have 6 songs left of all of Suitcase 2. And next is the last Milko Wave song in Come Make My Shadow. This
Last
is
and maybe my favorite
I think
question
I'm
mark.
with you there. I'm with you there. This is the one with a and I'm hurting
Hurting
you.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if this is that one, this is the best one.
What a great, yeah, what a great track.
Hmm.
I could have gone for this on All That Is Holy, like as a Circle in
Yeah.
the Birds song.
Oh,
Would
yeah.
have fit.
I think it would work better there than on something like Normal Happiness, but it would have been a great track on there.
Yeah.
Like next to something like Oh My Chosen One, I guess, or really more particularly Hello Forever or Jesus the Clockwork or something like that. Like I don't know if I picked this is kind of a give or take because now I get to play the fun game of well, what if? That's the worst rabbit hole to fall in doing these episodes, by the way. Those what if holes are very deep. And on this
They
one,
are
it
deep.
takes me to would this song have had drums if it was on All That Is Holy?
There you go. It feels like a drumless one. It
It
feels like
feels.
a
Mhm.
atmosphere. Like,
I'm
but no,
split. It could use drums, just not very intense drums, like minimal drums.
when yeah, you're right.
It
Well,
needs crash
when it
cymbals.
when it ramps up the intensity, then yeah,
Yeah, okay, I can see
some
that.
really strong hits. Yeah.
Hmm.
Come make my shadow. This is an awesome song. Like
Yeah.
people, you should just listen to it if you haven't. I think it's a deep cut, but
Hmm. I mean, I'm
it's
editing it into the
satisfying.
background. You'll hear it in some form.
I think the problem is that maybe if you're listening to all of Suitcase too, and you're just hearing all these Milko Wave tracks, you
Yeah,
kind
you
of
might be
just
tuning them out by this point. Like, if you didn't like
yeah
the first
yeah
few, yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's
But
it's it's the end of a Suitcase.
yeah.
Surely there can't be any more hits, right? Wrong. No, fuck you. Of course there's hits. There's always hits. Older version
Yeah.
of Paper Girl.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't see this. Honestly, this threw me off the first time I listened to it because it's Paper Girl, but
Such a nice
like the
song.
words are different, and
Yeah.
it's I like it a little less. It's still good. I
Absolutely.
want to be clear. I still like these. I like 80s Bob.
Mhm.
But
The issue with this one is the harmonies are missing.
I thought this one did have the harmonies. I don't
Um,
remember. Like near the
I
end,
feel
I'm
well, it's
pretty sure there's
full
harmonies.
band, no harmonies, and then the
Oh,
album
dang.
version is stick with harmonies,
Oh,
and
well,
that
it needs
wins.
those harmonies. And also, I think the
Yeah.
lyrics on the like the self-inflicted version cuts out a few of the longer bits in this, I think. I might be making that
Mhm.
up, but I think the lyrics on self-inflicted are better. Also, the self-inflicted one benefits from opening with ceramic cock Einstein, but that's another matter.
Yeah.
This was,
Uh,
it's an example of Bob taking a very pretty song he wrote and fucking it up and making it better.
yeah.
He's really good at
What a
that.
great, what a great song. Yeah, this is in the same vein as, I mean, I feel like I think it's in Jim Greer's book where he talks about maybe Paper Girl being like an old classic, a lot written around the same time as the song that eventually became Echoes Myron and
Hmm.
um, If We Wait and stuff like that. Like
Huh.
he talks about like a really good songwriting session that he had where he wrote all these songs that ended up being pretty much spread out over a wide
Hmm.
range of time. So, but yeah, I mean, the song it's very memorable. It's a classic. I feel like it's one of Bob's first like classics.
Hmm.
It's not it didn't really go down as like a GBV classic, but like the way he talks about it in an interview or something somewhere, like all Bob's friends kind of knew it because there was
Mm-hmm.
someone would always be like, yeah, play the pape.
Hmm.
It was
Play the
like
pape. That sounds like
the
something
pape, yeah,
Davis would say. Like
yeah,
once. No, Davis would say it once, and then everyone else would say it every time he said something. That's what it sounds like.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it was kicking around for a
The
while. I feel
siege, if
like
you will.
before this version
Dex.
and before the album version.
Yeah.
So
I
just
was
kind of finding its
I was wrong about it being Davis, by the way. It's a Dex thing. Dex would
yeah
call it the pape.
the pape, play the pape.
The sieg, or something like
Yeah,
that. Um, Jimmy's Einstein poster is also from the Brain Fart. I believe the liner notes say it was written in 1989. It's
they
it's
do.
it's kind
Yeah.
of funny. I do like this one. I'd like to hear this again without any extensions. It's perfect at 50 seconds. But it's a
Mhm.
oh Jimmy's Einstein poster. He hangs it on the wall and he looks at it to make him smarter every day. That's
Smarter.
kind of funny.
I love that. Jimmy's Einstein poster.
Yeah,
Great.
I have to
And I
believe
love.
this was written about his brother Jimmy having a poster of Albert Einstein on his wall. There's
Yeah.
no, it has to.
And how could you not love a song Bob wrote for his brother? I mean, you got
Little
this
Jimmy the
track,
Giant.
Little Jimmy the Giant, so sweet. You got Jimmy from Elephant Jokes.
I don't
That's a
know if
good
that's
one.
about Jimmy though.
Maybe you're right.
That song's a little
I don't know
obtuse,
if
I think.
it is or not, but it's good. That's my
Yeah,
point.
it's clear. Yeah, I mean, Bob has three songs with the name Jimmy in the title. Four if you count their cover of the Who's Happy Jack,
I do not
which he
count
sang about. Yeah, I don't either. Uh, but if you did, that would be four. It's a
that.
nice little tune.
Yeah.
You have a
I'm pretty sure this is the first time this has happened in our podcast, but I can't remember how this next song goes.
That's fair. My only confection. I was amazed to find that I actually didn't hate this song because I think it's from wherever Rise of the Ants and Metro 16 recorded because the recording itself sounds terrible, and I think it's Jimmy just beating on some drums without any semblance of beat and Bob singing. They're basically unrelated. This song should be terrible. To many, it probably is, but I don't hate it because Bob sings this really well. It's just not a song. It's
The
on
credits
Briefcase.
say Robert Pollard, vocal, and GE Portable. Is that
That might
what
be
does that?
maybe it's a dehumidifier. I'm gonna look that up because I'm not sure. I mean, GE portable is General Electric portable. For all I know, that can mean anything. I don't own a home. I don't know what stuff
Is this
goes in
recorded
it.
on a dehumidifier? Because that would explain a lot.
God, it would. GE portable. Oh, no fucking way is that what this is. Oh, there's no way. All the results are for ultrasounds. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's probably like an AC unit. realistically, it's a very loud AC unit, and Bob decided to credit it because it would be funny, and it is.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And Bob has chosen to sandwich one of the loveliest and awesomest
Mhm.
songs on
I feel
Suitcase
like,
two between
yeah.
two incredibly noisy ones. So
Yeah.
next
So,
up is
groundwork.
Groundwork.
It's a pretty acid ranch. I'm floating down to
To
groundwork. I want to beg for a remake for this, but it truly doesn't need one.
exactly,
This song is
exactly, and
perfect.
that's the conundrum. That's always the conundrum when
Of I'd love to
yeah,
hear this beefed up, but it doesn't need it.
yeah. Like the only reason I would want to hear a remake of this is just because like I want to hear it more. Like I want to hear what it just it'd just be satisfying to have it be on an album and have it be like a comeback, but a groundwork comeback. But yeah, good song.
Yeah. I like the false start that it has. Like Bob tries a few different tempos, and then he settles on one, and it's slower, I think, because it starts like it might be faster, but it's not.
I'll have to listen for that.
Yeah, like it's a split second thing, but it's how the song. It's just how the song starts, and then it gets into a groove, and it sits really nicely in that groove. It's a nice song. It's a really nice way to round things out. Except there's one more song. Ugh. That's
One
how
more because
that's how the final song sounds. It sounds like that
in
noise.
Bob's universe, sometimes there's a closing song and then there's like an end credits song,
Yeah,
and they're different.
yeah.
So groundwork,
I don't. Yeah, groundwork is great, but I don't feel bad saying the Bye Bye song is really bad. It's
I
really
mean,
fucking bad.
it is really bad,
Yeah, like
and I don't feel bad saying that because I don't think Bob has would say anything else.
yeah,
He
yeah.
probably thinks it's
It's on
noisy.
Briefcase. I will note this and Confection are on Briefcase, but Groundwork isn't. I think. I hope I'm not making that up. But Bye Bye song, like, it's funny because it's so shit, and you know
Yeah.
it's last, and it's the last song that is specifically because Bob heard it said this. Wow, this is terrible. I should put this on Suitcase. I listen, and you can tell because like the first thing Bob says in the song, he's like, I don't even need lyrics, and like nothing works, and the bass is like really fat, and I don't know what Bob's saying until the end when he's going bye 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 bye, and then like the very end, and I don't know what inspires someone to do this. It's like feedback, and you just hear Bob going ka 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 ka, and I don't understand it. And then that's the end of Suitcase, because Groundwork is
Yep.
too pretty, so Bob had to fuck it up.
Pretty
This
great. Yeah.
this is just weird.
So noisy. I mean, yeah, it's noise
Yeah,
rock.
yeah. It's pure
It's the most
unadulterated Monument Club.
yeah, yeah. It's the most basementy of all the basement jams.
Yeah,
It does not you not
it
go any
is.
deeper into the basement than
Yeah, it is completely unpresentable. And if that was, well, wait, was the Monument Club Bob's basement or Bob's garage?
the snake pit is the basement. The Monument Club's the
That's
garage,
not
I
a.
think.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I watched Watch Me Jumpstart earlier, and it has some good shots of the snake pit. That's not a giant basement. I would hope to God they weren't recording this down there. I mean, whatever the case, I just say that I, I, I pray for Bob's kids, specifically in that moment. I'm just imagining a bunch of like elementary school kids in like 1990 trying to get their little math homework done, and they're getting distracted because Bob's making that.
Dad,
Yeah,
keep it
that's just
down.
yeah. This is really funny to me. Like, imagine anyone else hearing that as it was being recorded. Like, what do you do with that?
This kind of reminds me of what maybe my neighbors in the dorm kind of experienced with me and my friends
Yeah.
making ungodly noise at ungodly hours. So
I I have okay, I said before, if it's the last song, tangents are fine. So I'm gonna talk about how my neighbors have responded to my music over time. Because
keep talking.
I make a lot
Muting you.
I've made a lot of my music in college dorms. When I was a freshman, I only got yelled at once, and that was because I had the door wide open while I was singing. But I've had the door open
Yeah.
recording other instruments because usually it would be recorded straight into something. I
Yeah.
remember one of the really like jockey types on my floor walking by while I was recording bass, and he was like, "Whoa, are you a musician?" Yeah. Yeah, you gotta perform for us. I want to hear you play. And I was like, okay. And then I had a show at the end of the month, and no one on my floor came, which was good because it went terribly. But yeah, I had a lovely conversation with some of the people I shared a wall with because in my freshman dorm the walls were effectively paper. But I had one of my neighbors I ended up talking to about it because I think he'd said something about like, "You a musician?" I was like, "Yeah, I record a lot in my room." He's like, "Yeah, I noticed." And he was like, "I can't really complain because I'm up playing Fortnite at 3 a.m. and you probably hear that." And I was like, "My sleep schedule's shit. I do hear it." So this was like early 2018 when Fortnite was just starting to really take off. Before it was like something everyone knew about. That was really the only experience. Like there were other people I shared a wall with freshman year, and they never talked to me about my music. I
Yeah, we
hadn't.
didn't get a lot of comments, but
I'd
maybe some
imagine.
RA intervention at some
Yeah,
point.
my RAs
Uh,
didn't give a shit about me making music in there. They thought it was
My
fine.
my favorite though was we're recording this is something that we would do is if we had a friend whose birthday was coming up, we would
Oh.
record a version of one of their favorite songs, but horribly.
Ah,
So
yes. That's the way it's done.
so we were for some reason we were doing a version of No Surprises by Radiohead that was really I think I was singing it, but
There's a
I
lot
was
of room for that to
screaming
be
and
brutal. Oh
yeah.
God, you can't scream that
Um
one.
you know it's on the internet somewhere so you can hear it. I'll dig up a link.
I
But
feel like I've stumbled upon some of your old recordings because that's like awkward core, right? I could probably find it if I dug hard enough.
yeah,
I don't know if I should, but I could.
awkward core. But let's see how you do. But anyway, I remember we were working on that and this guy he had moved in and like introduced himself like maybe like 2 days before and
Oh
like like
God.
pleasantly. I remember him like showing up at the door. In my mind, he was shirtless. I don't know if that's just something I filled in, but I feel like maybe he was like in a towel or something.
Hmm.
And he was like, he just said, "You guys have to stop. This is just disgusting." And he was
They're
he was
probably.
so he was so upset. Like he wasn't like yelling. It was like he was beyond that. He was just like, "This is
This is
so."
unlistenable.
Oh man, good times, college
That's awesome.
years.
Maybe it's in
Or,
compilations. I don't know where in your
proud
site it
moment.
is. I keep
I will.
forgetting. I keep forgetting you got Deerhoof on a compilation. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. My friend Arthur he's a big hoofer, which I assume is what deer hoof fans are called, right? Hoofers.
I think they're just called Deerhoof fans. I don't know. I
Deer
mean,
hoof.
I'll refer to
Okay.
them as the hoof because I think it's really
Yes.
funny to do that. Um,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, I don't know
He's
though.
he's he's a big fan. So yeah, he has interacted with them. And Greg Saunier.
Greg seems
I
like a
don't know
pretty
if that's
approachable dude. I think even I've talked to
yeah.
him at this point.
Yeah. He's a
Yeah,
gregarious
I asked Deerhoof
fellow.
like
So.
3 questions in the Reddit AMA like a week or so ago, and they answered all of them. So
Oh shit, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And then I pitched ideas.
Check that.
Yeah, and what was it? And then Satomi was like, "We're performing at a prison in L.A. It might have been San Quentin. I don't remember." He's like, They're like, "We're performing at a prison." Okay, that's odd. And she's like, "What are some songs we should do?" And I said Black Pitch first, and she was like, "Good choice, but I don't think the warden's gonna want us singing political songs."
Please tell me somebody said uh, Folsom Prison Blues.
I don't know. I think people were naming Deerhoof songs. Someone
Oh,
said this
I mean,
magnificent bird will rise. It's a hell of a song to
man.
play in a prison. I think Satomi's response to that was we thought about doing that a cappella and just going da 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 the whole time, which would be really wacky. Yeah, freshman year I don't have a ton of stories of neighbors responding to my music. I think I mean my roommate certainly had comments every now and again. I didn't like my roommate. Like he was a turd, and he was a turd to my friends, and
Mhm.
just really creepy to all of my friends who did not identify as male. So it
Oh,
was.
that
I will
sucks.
say it was gratifying to learn that my floor mates who I didn't talk to actually liked me because I wasn't him. Like I was just a like I guess I was just a pleasant person around these people because I didn't know them very well. So I'd just be like, hey, hey, and that was it. And they're like, no, no, they think you're cool actually, just because you're kind of chill about this stuff. Whereas my roommate would kind of insert himself into situations and just
Yeah.
be kind of awkward in them. Yeah, I have a few stories about how he's kind of a shitty dude, and he's in my major so too. So I
Oh
worry about
man.
having classes with him, but I don't talk. I've made it a point not to talk to him. He tried to engage with me once last year, and I just looked away and I was like, I'm not engaging with you, John, and that was it because I'm not fucking talking to him.
Shut that right down.
He also had shitty taste in music. He thought Dave Matthews Band were obscure. I'm so
Oh
lucky
my
that I had a
god.
musician as a neighbor because I called him in. I was like, Hey, Connor, check this bullshit out. Yeah. But sophomore year, I shared a wall with another musician too. So even if I was getting really weird, he didn't complain. I also didn't record in my room as much sophomore year because I had a few other options, so I'd record in other places. Like there was a little lounge down the hall, so
Hmm.
I'd record in there if no one else was in there. I remember the second day of sophomore year, I did a lot of recording in that little side lounge, which was kind of neat. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have as many memories. My best memory of recording is effectively the equivalent of what you had, but I had it in my campus apartment back in I want to say about a year ago, maybe September 2019, because all my friends were out and about, so I was alone until 1 in the morning. So I played amped electric guitar until 1 in the morning, and I got
Whoa.
a lovely, lovely letter on my door the next day at about noon, and I don't know where it is, but I will never forget it because it was if it had been any less nicely written, it would have been written in blood. And it was like to whoever you may concern, it was effectively was that was really fucking loud. We are nursing majors who have to be up at 5:45 for our practicals. We're sorry. Please don't. They were like, if you could stop playing by 10 p.m., that would be great. Thanks. I think my memory serves was I wrote them a note back later that day saying, "I'm truly sorry. I didn't know. This will not happen again." And it didn't happen again. Not that we weren't loud or anything. We could get pretty loud in there, but I didn't. Oh, why the hell does that say "forgot to pee"?
That was the name of the album.
All right, I think we have to stop the call because it's not even remotely about Suitcase anymore. But
Yeah.
they're good
But
stories.
I totally forgot. But the guy I told you about,
Hmm.
we caught him on the recording at the very beginning. You can hear him talking to us.
I like the idea of just this is disgusting.
Seriously, is amazing.
Yeah, my comments. See, I have recording. I'm gonna stop the call now, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop the recording because
Yeah.
it is no longer about Suitcase 2, Disc 4. Tune in whenever, maybe November, I guess, later November when we start talking about Suitcase 3. Until then, take care.